Okay, so this is the part 2 of the 2 parts video, me answering the 10 most commonly asked questions for those who are on the spiritual realization path. So there was another video that I created that I answer question 1 to 5. So if you haven't checked that, I want you to check that first and come back to this video. So I'm going to start with the question number 6. The question is, what is the relationship between individual self and the universal self? Well, there are a lot of people who use this term. I mean, individual self is easy for us to understand, right? I have my body and the mind, I'm speaking to you, and you have your individual mind and the body that you're receiving this information. What is universal self, right? Some people might say a creator, others might say, oh, it's a spirit, or some people might use the term God, right? Source, a universal intelligence. The relationship to me between the individual self and the universal self is that the individual self is a vehicle that the universal self, the God creator, is expressing through. Yeah. So there's a cosmic intention, there's a collective intention, and collective in terms of individuals bringing together. But if you probably heard this term, we are all one, right? One mind, right? Marianne Williamson, who wrote Return to Love, often used the term all minds are joined, right? So when you begin removing the physical body and your intellectual mind, thoughts, and the thoughts that things, the mind, the spiritual dimension start merging into one. Yeah. So the universal self to me is the creator. Universal self to me is the infinite intelligence. And for instance, like this is often happens, right? Like I come in front of the camera and I start talking to you, and I often don't prepare too much, which I love, because if I don't prepare too much, something bigger than me starts speaking through me. So, sports athletes might say that if they're in a flow state or in the zone, right? If you're a musician, you are sort of mesmerized into that moment, or artist, right? Most of us, almost every single one of us has experienced this state. So when you are in that state, that something bigger than your intellectual conscious mind start expressing through you, that is actually an embodiment and the integration of the individual and the universal self. Yeah. So the question is, what is the relationship between, the individual self is a portal for the universal self to express through. The more you allow the universal self, God, creator, infinite intelligence to express through you, you're in a harmonious state with the bigger version of you. Some people might call higher part of you. Yeah. So that would be my answer to question number 6. Number 7, how can I live authentically and align with my true nature? Okay, this question I'm gonna spend a little bit time, because authentic is an interesting term that a lot of people who are in the spirituality use inaccurately to me, because just to give you a little bit of the background, the spiritual realization means that not to just recognize that you're a spiritual being, but to realization is an acceptance in your subconscious mind. And I have come to conclude that spirituality is incomplete without identity. So what I mean by that is that, like, when you meditate and go to the retreat, and a lot of people want to transcend beyond ego. Now, ego in a sense of identity and personality. So personality is the expression of the individual self, right? And many people who being on the path of spiritual journey, sometimes they don't want to include this identity part in their life as the path of spiritual realization. But the truth is that you cannot live without thoughts. You cannot live without belief. You cannot live without your personality in this 3D physical world, because we're here to experience and to express. Yeah. So why am I saying this? Because the true authenticity is the ideal version of you. Yeah, that's what many people mixed up. Not many people think so, right? Because the ideal version of you is the version of you that is expressing fully, that you might have not realized just yet, right? So the idea, what is ideal version of you, right? Ideal version of you is the version of you that is living, fulfilling your desire. Yeah, fulfilling your desire. So imagine that you are living your life currently, that all the desires are being fulfilled. Yeah. And going after the manifestation and the fulfillment of the desire does not contradict with living spiritually, just so you know. Because sometimes people make this as a contradictory two different things. Yeah. Almost as if you are living a spiritual life, you shouldn't desire something, right? You want to desire something because the desire, the fulfillment of the desire, is the urge of the soul expressing fuller version of you. Yeah, just like the flower turns from the seeds to blossom, right? We're here to expand. We're here to innovate. We're here to express the fuller version of whatever that is. So the fulfillment of the desire, when you're living your life, lining up with the fulfillment of the desire, that version of the identity to me is your authentic self. Authentic self. So how can I live authentically? By becoming clear with your desire, and who you are becoming when you are fulfilling your desire is the answer, and align with my true nature. Your true nature is the urge inside of you that wants to express, wants to be expressed, right? So I think the answer to this question is to first to become clear with what that is without any outside noise impacting you to change your idea of what the desired life is. What I just said is very important. To come up with, to become clear, to identify your life filled with your desire without letting the outside noise of family members or social norm or social invisible agreement to get in the way to prevent you from expressing yourself fully. That is to align with your true nature. Okay, question number 8. What is the role of spirituality in my life? Okay, first of all, spirituality is who you are. Spiritual essence is who you are. So there's no role in this, right? So that is who you are. The role is in the mind. The role of the mind is to create. There's no better definition than that. The role of the mind is to create. You will create positive stuff if you think positively. You will create negative stuff if you think negatively. The essence and the nature of mind is creative. It will create whatever you're vibrating at because that is the role of the mind. What is the role of spirituality in marriage? I'm going to change this question because this question doesn't make sense when you really understand who we are, right? You are the spirit soul. You are the essence of who you are, the awareness, and the role needs to be attached to the mind, not to the spirit. The role of the body is the vehicle that you're living in so you can express your unique individuality to be able to touch and serve the world. Good. Question number 9. How can I transcend the limitations of the mind? Now, this is a very good question and a question that many people are seeking the answer. Now, limitations of the mind. Many people have limitations of the mind because we're all exposed to some sort of conditioning and programming throughout the childhood upbringing. Yeah. And notice that people who you are surrounded by the most, you're going to be influenced by their energetics. Yeah. So how much can you recognize that, and how much you can come up with a version of the mind? So this is what you want to do, right? What kind of life you would be living, who you will be becoming when all the limitations of the minds are dissipated, right? So instead of trying to focus on the limitation of the mind, you come up with the version of you and your life when the limitations of the mind are absent. And then you can sort of borrow different people's lifestyle or way of thinking. Well, this person, when I'm close to this person, I feel very expansive and I feel more potential and possibilities, right? If you are close to somebody and if that energy of the person is making you feel smaller or making you feel restricted, it means that the energy of the limitation of the mind is present in that relationship. But when you come to somebody else and when you feel inspired, I mean, the feeling of inspiration is a good indicator that your limitation of the mind is being dissipated by feeling that energy of inspiration. So the answer to this question is to really tune into, leaning into that idea and begin looking for all the inspiration, possibly inspiration, inspire people that you can tune into. And you can notice sooner or later that limitations has been fading away little by little. Okay, last question, the 10th question. How can I contribute to the greater good of humanity and planet? I mean, one of the ways is for you to share this YouTube video and invite people to watch and follow and subscribe this YouTube video, as many people as you can, because I think the information and the message and the wisdom that's being shared in these videos are invaluable. Yeah. And I'm saying that because I believe so. And I believe so, therefore I do what I do. But let's go back. So how can I contribute to the greater good of humanity and planet? Okay, so in order to change the world and in order to improve the world, all we want to do, all of us, is to work on ourselves. Yeah, because the inside is the cause of the outside. And if each one of us focuses on trying to change the outside, everybody's going to continue to think though, and nobody's going to attempt to change the inside. It will remain the same. So the best way to change the world is to change yourself. And if every single one of us begin working on changing ourselves to expand into the awareness, the essence of who we are, sooner or later you will realize the world is being changed. So the best contribution that we can all do to contribute to the greater good of humanity and planet is to work on ourselves to align with the essence of who we are and to become the creator of our own life. So there you have it. That is the answer, my answer to the 10 most commonly asked questions by the people who are on the spiritual realization path. This video, particular video, was the part 2 of the 2 parts video. So you can watch the part 1, part 2, and if you have any question, if you have different questions that not being answered, I want you to ask and share your aha moment, share what you took away from it, so we can have a little dialogue to be able to deepen our understanding and the wisdom inside of us. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.